catching up with one of the legends of the AFL, bad man, good man, whatever you like to call him. Welcome, Brownie, to the podcast, mate. The old Rich Life project.
Yeah, I love it. Rich Life.
Everyone's got their rich life, and it doesn't mean you've got to have lots of money either. I know you've got millions, but what's been happening, mate?
No, very little. It's great to be back to some form of normality, isn't it? After the shit we went through for the last couple of years, and crowds back and functions happening again, and I'm heavily involved in the racing side of things, which did sort of keep going through the pandemic and footy.
Yep.
So I feel pretty fortunate.
And you're on the farm anyway, aren't you?
On the farm too, which is good. 20 acres out there, and the kids ran amok, and not a bad time. I was going to say that would have been a great time to be on a farm. Yeah, it was.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So I've got two young kids. One's nearly 5 and one's a 1-year-old.
Yep.
So I was home obviously much more than I usually was.
Yeah, 100%.
So there's always a silver lining.
Got the chance to work from home as well as come in. So that's pretty blessed. And what? Getting back to the childhood, growing up. What was the biggest thing in regards to child? Obviously, your father being Mal Brown.
Yep.
He's obviously a legend of the Western Australian AFL and all the rest of it. But growing up, was he a big influence, obviously, to get you into the AFL side, or how did this all come about?
Yeah, I grew up. I was born over in Perth.
Yep.
And normal sort of childhood.
Yep.
We moved to Melbourne when I was 9 years of age. He got a job at Richmond.
Yep.
And he was only meant to come over and move the family over for 2 years. It was during the Save Our Skins campaign. Richmond were just about broke.
Oh, really?
Rattling tins to stay alive.
No
so
way.
How much time has changed?
That was pretty much like South Sydney in the rugby league at one stage.
Yep.
Wow.
So he was coming over. He sort of worked as an accountant, in his other life. And Richmond wanted him over to do some commercial stuff, get sponsors on board and everything. And the plan was to move back to Perth at the end of 1995, so after 2 years.
Yeah, right.
And I'd settled into school here. I'd made some friends. I started to play some junior footy and absolutely loved Melbourne.
Yeah, right.
And so did my sister, and Mal goes, righto, I've done my bit for Richmond.
Yeah.
They're in a pretty good place now. We sacked the board and we've got everything, where it needs to be. Let's go back to Perth. And we were like, no, mate, we're staying here in Victoria.
Sorry, Dad, off you go, mate.
If you want to go back, you can, but we're here. So he was sort of stuck in Melbourne.
Okay.
And I played junior footy. He was always a massive, wealth of knowledge. Support.
Yep.
But hard but fair. I'd sort of call him a parent that was never one that if I'd played a shit game, would be like, oh, you better luck next time. You'll be better, but unlucky.
Yep.
That everyone gets a participation ribbon these days, right? They don't score in junior sport.
100%.
You've got to congratulate the opposition when they kick a goal. All that bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to it at all.
Yeah.
So while at the time, you might not like what your old man's telling you. No, you didn't go hard enough, and you got to do this, and you didn't work. I think it really spurred me on to be a better player.
Yeah, definitely.
Even as a youngster.
Yeah.
And all the way through my footy career, even at a professional level, I played for 12 years, 205 games.
Yep.
The old man and my mother, he came to 203 of them. So he missed two my whole life.
Wow.
It was their social scene as well.
Yeah. 100%.
But he'd always come, he'd write little notes on the record, say, mate, you looked slow off the mark, maybe do some speed.
Yep.
You missed some kicks. Just little coaching things, not forcefully trying to drive it down my throat, but you might get a text during the week.
Because he came from a background of playing AFL.
And coaching.
Okay, well, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so never let me rest on my laurels, so to speak. But didn't interfere.
Yep.
But, hey, how about you do some marking practice?
Yeah, some good coaching advice.
Just little things like that,
100%.
which I reckon you need a bit of a kick.
100%. And there's not many kids that have that opportunity where their father, instead of some fathers you see, get off that, just yell, but when you got that opportunity where he's played and he's coached, so that's only just, that's beautiful that he can actually just go, okay, these are the little written things, try and work on this, try and work on that, because he's seen it from an outside point of view too.
Exactly right. And I think, some parents try and live their lives through their kids because they were failed athletes or whatever, 100%. So they go too hard the other way and almost push them, especially through those younger ages, to 100%. The point where they don't actually like the sport they're playing anymore and everything.
We've dealt with that in the boxing game, in the fight game, where the father wants to be the child to live their dream.
Yeah.
And the kid might be 8 or 9 years of age, and the father, and we've had given us messages, what he wants the fighter to do, or what he wants the kid to do, and in the end we're just like, mate, you got to go. We just can't deal with that anymore. We've got to coach him, and you're the one trying to coach him, so it's just not working.
You got to let it work organically, right?
100%.
And if they go down that path, fantastic.
Yeah.
But
and as
if
you say,
force someone,
and we say to parents, you're there to support them. Money-wise, trip-wise, that's your job. Our job, you bring them to us, we coach them.
Yeah.
But obviously, when your father's a coach too, that's even more of a blessing because you got all that opportunity. And he was, who did he play for back in the day?
So he played over in West Australia.
West Australia,
He played for East Perth, was captain coach at 22 years of age, a couple of premierships, came over to play at Richmond in the year that they won the flag.
Oh, really? Okay.
1974, but he got suspended.
Oh,
he threw the ball too hard back at the umpire. I think it does, yeah. Sort of grew up with not a great deal of respect for authority, and I think it rubbed off on me. He threw the ball back too hard at the umpire, believe it or not.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So he thought he'd taken a mark. Umpire called touched, and he's had the ball in his hand. He's wheeled around and thrown it at the umpire. It's bounced off his chest, and he got reported and was given 3 weeks.
Oh, really?
And missed round 22, the last round, semi-final, because back then they didn't have qualifying.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then they won into a granny, and they won the flag, and he missed out. And it was his one season at Richmond because you needed transfers and everything. Back then it wasn't as easy as today that you just sort of go.
Wow.
He'd been given a 12-month transfer from East Perth to Richmond.
Yep.
But after that 12-month, he had to return back to East Perth.
Yeah, okay.
Even though I think he would have liked to have stayed.
Yeah, definitely.
But
back in the day,
yeah, no,
he was in the Hall. Did he get?
He's West Australian Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. Yeah,
he won a Sandover medal. He was runner-up on another 2 occasions, best and fairest. He captain coached the All Australian. He was a captain coach of West Australia.
Yep.
He was All Australian captain.
Wow.
Back they used to play the carnivals. So the premiership team in South Australia would play.
Oh, okay.
The premiership team from Tassie, West Australia,
so
Victoria, go and have a carnival
sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
and you'd work out, because it wasn't a national competition, you'd play against each other and you'd try and work out who was the best team in the country.
Wow.
And it'd get quite heated because
I was going to say that's
West Australians hated the Vics.
That's state of origin stuff right there.
Pretty much. And that's where it was born. So he used to say to me, you'd get double pay if you hit a Vic. And he become great mates with Teddy Whitten and Neil Curley, who's just passed away, who's a South Australian. And Mel and Neil and Teddy basically brought state of origin footy together and what it was. So he's pretty passionate about his footy. He loves it.
100%. Yeah, I do see sort of posts and interviews and stuff with Mal, and he loves his footy. You can just see that. It's still one of the best interviews was
when he told that reporter to go and get fucked. Yeah,
the Channel 7 reporter come in and onto his property and just went, can you make a statement of this? He goes, get fuck off my property, mate. I think that still goes around on YouTube.
Yeah,
there's millions of views, I think.
Yeah, he's not backwards in coming forward.
No, but that's just shows what type of that country sort of personality, which is good. So 2000 we go to 2001. You got the draft, number 32.
Yep, that's right.
What was the whole feeling of that? Like, obviously you've just started to play, and then they've put you into the draft. And you're number 32.
Yeah.
For the Hawks.
Yep.
Which is obviously a beloved team you've played for a lot of years.
Yeah, it was a funny one. Like, I suppose I break junior footy into 2 categories. So you got your guys that are absolute standouts and stars, and from quite an early age, 14, 15, 16, 17, that they're destined for AFL.
Yeah,
they're going to get drafted, and they're just head and shoulders above.
Yep.
And then you've got, and that's not many.
No, right.
Might be 20, people. Then you've got the rest of all the junior players, the crop, that have got to work bloody hard.
Yeah,
they've got deficiencies in their game. I was always quite small.
Yep.
I was considered quite slow off the mark and wasn't a great decision maker, with ball in hand. So a few knocks there that didn't make me an automatic draft proposition.
Yeah, okay.
And had to work on my speed and all these other things and train really, really hard.
Yep.
And going into that draft, I was not sure exactly if I'd get drafted, certainly what number.
Yep.
And so when Hawthorn read my name out, pick 32, in what has gone on to become known as the Super Draft, it's the greatest draft of all time.
Oh, really? Yeah. Is that because you got picked in that draft?
It's just like you can only look at it in hindsight.
Yeah.
But it's just a freakish draft. So, like, Luke Hodge obviously went one, Chris Judd, Luke Ball. You've got Jimmy Bartell, Dane Swan, David Hale, Sam Mitchell, James Kelly, Gary Ablett Jr., Stevie Johnson, Lee Montagna, Adam Schneider. Matt, like from 1 to about 80.
Yep.
It just bats all the way through, really deep. And, getting named to Hawthorn was great because I wasn't overly keen on moving interstate as a youngster.
Yeah, 100%.
Hawthorn was just down the road from me.
Beautiful.
I knew a couple of the guys that had got drafted there.
Oh, yeah, nice.
So it just made life a bit easier.
Yeah. So once you got picked in that draft, obviously then you made your debut the next year in 2002.
Yep.
Jersey number 30. Any particular reason the jersey number 30?
Well, I wore 32 in my first year.
Yep.
And that's just pure coincidence. I was picked 32 and they gave me 32.
Oh, yeah, right. That's
and
crazy.
So my first 12 games I wore it, and then I was on a Thailand footy trip. And Tony Woods, who was a veteran, he'd played at Fitzroy, he'd gone to Collingwood, and then he came to the Hawks. He was a tough, hard-working tagger.
Right.
Wasn't a superstar, but he had the respect of his players.
Yeah.
He just grabbed me one night. We were on a podium in Thailand, the glow sticks and that, having a great time.
I got no idea what you're talking about.
And I'm 19. Imagine how innocent I was back in the day. And he grabbed me. He said, "Brandy, I know you wore number 32 this year, but would you? I've just retired.
Yeah, right.
And would you consider wearing my jumper number 30? I'd love you to wear it. I want to hand it down to you." And I thought for a bit, and I thought I had no real relevance to 32.
32 is just
it was a good number, but
pick me, whatever.
But to have a guy like that of say, I want you to wear my number.
Yep.
That was enough for me to say, yeah, mate, I'd be honoured to wear number 30.
Wow.
Peter Schwab was our coach at the time.
Yeah.
He was a former number 30 at Hawthorn.
Oh, really?
So that helped as well.
Yeah, 100%.
The old coach.
When you think of the names that have worn it, and you think, wow, that's and I get that chance. So I changed, especially as a young kid.
I changed after my first year to jump a number 30, and now it's the number that you become.
Iconic,
right?
Yeah, it's iconic history now. It's old Brownie's on the 30. So what? Obviously playing, you say you weren't the biggest guy, but you're known for your aggression and toughness. What sort of things did you have to work on in regards to getting to that level? As you say, like there's a lot of people with skill that already just go in there, they've got their skill, but you have to work on obviously your toughness and probably your aggression comes down the line of the family. Your old man being that way, as you state. But what sort of things did you start to work on to better yourself in that first year of Hawthorn, and then probably the years after that? Because I think it was year 2002 through to 2010 was your career
I got to Hawthorn and I was a mile off them. Okay. I got drafted as a midfielder.
Yep.
And I quickly worked out just genetically and everything. I'm asthmatic and everything that I probably wasn't going to make it early days at Hawthorn as a midfielder.
Okay.
So automatically you're like, righto, I'm going to have to try and find a little niche in this team if I ever want to break in. What is it going to be? Is it going to be in the forward line? Is it going to be in the back line? And my first game for Hawthorn, so there's AFL, then there's VFL.
VFL,
Box Hill. And then there's the Development League, which is Box Hill 2s, which is kicking the fucking dew off the grass at 9 in the morning.
Getting the field prepared.
Yeah, so for people that are a million miles away, right? That's where I started.
Really?
And I was the only AFL listed player playing in the Development League.
Oh, wow.
Which is the 2s.
Yeah,
it's like you can't get any lower. And I was a bit embarrassed, obviously, because the rest of the Hawthorn boys are playing at Box Hill.
Yep.
And here I am running around at 9 in the morning and thinking, fuck, like, how far off am I?
Yeah, right.
But you don't sulk.
No,
you don't get upset.
No.
You just focus on the job at hand. I wanted to play really well and stick it up them. And just say, hey, I don't belong
wrong.
I don't belong here.
Yeah, it did.
And I played okay and I got elevated to the VFL.
Yep.
I played 2 games. ended up getting reported for 2 weeks and suspended for charging David Teague.
Oh, right.
He come back with a flight and I tried to fucking poleaxe him.
Yeah,
and he's
right.
as tough as Teague, right? So he's bounced back to his feet and I've got dragged and started a melee. And got 2 weeks and I was like, oh, this is not ideal.
That's where it all started from, is it?
And then then they were going to put me back in the development league again because I sort of, indiscretion. And
Yep.
thank God they didn't. And I played 2 more VFL games.
Yep.
And then the senior side had lost a couple in a row, the AFL Hawks.
Oh, okay.
They'd lost a few in a row and some of the senior guys had played poorly.
Yep.
And Schwabby just called me out of the blue on a Thursday.
Oh, wow.
And said, mate, you're coming to Adelaide, you're debuting this week.
Oh, wow.
And I there's no way I deserved the game.
Yeah,
Because I played like 4 games.
Yeah.
With a 2-week suspension. But he wanted to make a statement to some of the senior guys and say, hey, if you're not playing well, there's kids here that will play.
100% pull them up.
And the funny thing is, Rich, is from that day, which was round 11, 2002,
yep.
I never played another game of VFL in the rest of my life. I never got dropped.
Right.
So I saw that opportunity. I was like, it's my position now.
100%.
And I'll do whatever it takes.
Yep.
To make sure that I play well for the team to win, and I never go back to be embarrassed by playing
100%.
Box Hill. And
but that's just drive in itself, isn't it? And what did you when you went back into the major leagues? As you can say, the centre half back, is that the position you went into and stayed at, or
by accident?
Yeah. Because it's not for short asses,
midgets like me.
Midgets, God knows, no. But it's more for the taller guys, isn't it?
Yeah, it was almost by accident. My first 2 or 3 years, I'd bounce between forward and back and forward and back. And the good thing was that the coaches knew if they gave me a role, I'd play it for the team.
Yeah.
But so you got picked every week.
Yep.
But you almost felt like, okay, how am I ever going to get the best out of myself if I'm never quite sure?
Yeah, you're just here, there, and everywhere.
I'm here, there, and everywhere. I'm filling holes. I'm plugging holes. Which is great for versatility, but not great for development, right?
No, that's right.
And so Clarko got the job.
Yep.
And he saw me as a defender.
Yep.
That was playing on sort of medium to small forwards. Your Eddie Betzes to, you know.
Yeah.
And then in 2007, for whatever reason, I got no idea because I'd been playing on Paul Medhurst and guys that were good players, but weren't tall.
Yep.
Scotty Lucas was leading the Coleman medal after about 4 weeks. Right? He kicked 27 goals. He was on fire.
Jeez.
And he was the centre forward for Essendon.
Yep.
And I got a text message out of the blue from Clark on the Tuesday or Wednesday. And he said, Scotty Lucas, how would you feel like playing on Scotty Lucas?
Yep.
And I got the text. I went, oh, hey, mate, I think you sent it to the wrong guy. You meant to send this to Trent Crode or one of them, right? And he goes, nah, mate, what would you like? The challenge to play on Scotty Lucas. And I naturally went, yeah, mate. Yeah, sweet. I played on him.
Yep.
And we won, and it went really well.
Yep.
And then the next week, Pavlich.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I went to Perth and played on Pav, and again, had a lot, of support from my teammates, but got the job done. And then it just evolved to Rewalt, Ash Hansen, all these massive guys. And just had a year out of the box, really.
I was going to say, that would have been just a year of just a whirlwind year, wouldn't it?
It was
you
great.
go from that, you're obviously doing well, you're getting the big names.
Yeah.
And everything was going well.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a great year because I had a completely injury-free year.
Yeah, right.
So, and then each week I was going into a game legitimately saying if I can beat my opponent, we'll win the game.
We'll win the game.
That was my mentality. These centre forwards were so good. Yes, we needed some other players to play well.
Yep.
But it was great to be given that level of responsibility.
Definitely.
And that was the best year of my AFL career by a mile. I was all Australian.
Yeah.
I came second in the best and fairest, and it just sort of evolved and didn't last long because the AFL brought in a few rule changes, chopping of the arms. Which for a small guy that loved to chop the arms, that sort of made me a little bit redundant as a key defender.
I suppose both codes like AFL, NRL, they're all bringing these changes in, and obviously it's not going to suit a lot of different players, but some it does.
Yeah, you just have to evolve.
Yeah.
And I like the rule change. Don't get me wrong, because it's if we want.
Probably just safety and just moving forward.
Yeah, and we want players to kick goals and stuff.
Right,
and like you look back now and you go, like, of course chopping the arms is illegal, right? But back then it wasn't.
No, that's right.
Same with the rushing of the behinds.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because we did that a lot at Hawthorn. We just rush it behind.
Yeah, right.
Deliberate out of bounds. All these rules have been brought in.
Yeah, I do see that when I attend the games these days, and when someone kicks it out, and then they go, "No, that's out on purpose," and then all the crowd goes crazy. And those, I didn't sort of see all those rule changes back in the day when they come in, but you can definitely see,
and they've helped. They have helped for the spectacle. So it made life a bit more difficult for me because I wasn't a great decision maker.
Yeah, yeah.
Rush behind was perfect, right?
Yeah.
Because then you just give the ball to Hodgie or a good kick.
That's right.
And then chopping the arms, obviously, because I'm 177 centimetres. I'm playing on guys 195.
Yeah, right.
So, it quickly sort of meant, okay, we probably can't play you on the big guys anymore.
Yeah,
You're going to have to go back to your role as a small defender.
Yep.
And then I ended up sort of going to become a forward because they couldn't play me on the smalls anymore either.
No. But the mindset going into those, obviously you're young, you're in these games, you're competing with the big boys, and as you say, the mindset each week to go out and play, because obviously I've got good friends like who's just come to North Melbourne, Huey Greenwood.
Yeah.
So he was playing at the Suns and the Crows and a few others, and he come from basketball background. But just the mindset with the AFL guys, it's probably no different to any other athlete when they're going into their sport. You're very confident in your ability. You're getting opportunities to do that, so you got to prove them. And as you say, probably that one where you're wiping the dew in the before games. That was your sort of mentality and frame of mind to go, I'm never going back to that spot again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like I would never be arrogant.
No.
But I had an internal belief that, okay, like I'm going to do everything possible to beat my opponent, to play well, and for us to win the game of footy. Like I'm a really competitive guy, and I absolutely love the challenge week to week of getting the better of my opponent. And for me, it wasn't about getting 25 touches because I was a guy that was a negating defender that basically all I needed to do was stop you. So if I end up with 10 touches, but you kicked 0 goals and had 7, mate, that's great.
100%.
So it took the it sort of made life as quite simple as a footballer. Some guys need to get 25 touches to play well each week. All I need to do is beat my opponent.
That's right.
Clarko was very good like that. He broke us into guys that were rebounding defenders. That you wanted to get the ball in their hands of, and then guys that just negating, just stop your opponent. And we'll judge you on that. But I think like we as a collective group had a really competitive group of guys. And your first season or two, you're happy and content just playing each week.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you're 18, 19, and
the crowd,
this is your dream.
This is incredible,
But then once you become an established player,
then
you take more ownership of the group.
I was going to say, ownership, responsibility comes on top of the shoulders.
And we wanted then to be successful. So our goal then was, hey, like, we're playing each week. We want to play finals for the first time. That took us about 6 years.
Yeah, true.
And then we played a final. We tasted victory against Adelaide in 07. Buddy kicked 7 goals. And then the very next week we got bundled out in a semi-final, right? And we're like, fuck. Like now we're in that stage where making finals is not
good enough
fulfilling
now.
us. We want to win a premiership. And that's the progression. But we had guys that were driving that internally, good leaders, really competitive guys.
The premiership, what was that, 2008? Yeah, right.
Against the Cats. And they were the best team in the comp by an absolute mile.
Yeah, right.
We they played pretty poorly on the day. We took our chances and we won a game that you would never win. 99 times out of 100, you'd lose that game. How many
times do you see that? But, these guys have been beaten all year by this team.
Correct.
And come grand final time, they produce their best game ever.
Yeah, and now, so you can never take that back, right?
100%.
So we win a flag and we're content. And then the wheels fell off a little bit in 09 and 2010 before the next era of Hawthorn, which was pretty special.
Do you get to the point where, especially when because I see young fellas like Bailey Smith now, they've won the grand final, and then it's sort of, as you say, the wheels fall off. And I suppose like any sport, a boxer, Ruiz, for instance, won it off Joshua. He becomes the biggest celebrity in the world, just won all the belts. But then they seem to just go, you know what, that was crazy. And now they get all the money, they get the party, and it all goes downhill. Is that probably a genuine thing that sort of happens, especially AFL? I mean, I know rugby league and boxing and all that, sometimes a good majority of that does.
Yeah, I suppose it's up to the individual and how much it still means to you, right?
Yeah.
Because you've got this goal for your whole life of wanting to win a premiership. 100%. And then when you do that, you achieve it. Are you still as hungry the next season to win another, or are you content now?
Yeah.
Which you only need to be, 1% off.
Yep.
And you don't go for that run on Christmas morning.
That's right.
You don't do the extra weight session, right?
Yep.
And then they're not big things
no.
because you're still training hard.
That's right.
You're still eating well and everything, but you're not quite doing it to the manic level that you were before you were that champion. And that only the person can answer that. And but if you've got a team and there's 15 of the 22
not doing
that are thinking about that, well, it's going to be very hard to sustain success.
That's right.
And that's why one of the reasons, I mean, you and I both love Las Vegas more than any other place on earth.
I love it, right?
I can't fathom for the life of me a guy like Floyd Mayweather that lives there.
Yep.
And Andre Agassi lived in Las Vegas.
Yep.
Think of all the temptations and the fun you have and gambling and hotels and pool
100%.
parties. The fact that they were able to live there
and be
compartmentalise it enough that they would still train and go on and be
100%.
Unbelievable. And Floyd's never lost a fight in his whole life.
No.
While going to strip clubs and all that.
100%.
Unfathomable to me.
It isn't, but it probably shows you the level
of commitment
these guys were at. And as you say, living in Las Vegas, there's so many temptations at night. Through the day, probably not so many because everyone's sleeping from the night. Yeah. But there's so many temptations, and you have some of the great sportsmen. But when all their life is just sport, boxing, tennis, whatever it may be, they don't know anything else. And that might be a factor where there's just those special ones that just
a manic obsession to their craft.
It's like
they've got the money, they've got the fame, but they haven't fallen into the trap of cutting corners.
That's right. They just they have that thing where it's, this is my life, I don't know anything else, and they go along until they retire, and then they go, oh, this is what life's all about. Wow. And obviously they find their downfalls, because obviously a lot of sportsmen, they get to that stage and they go, oh, I've gone to alcohol, I've gone to drugs, gone whatever, and fall off the thing. I suppose that's because like AFL, NRL, some fighting, they don't really have a plan. There's not too many people who teach you the plan after your sport. Is there? There's just like, once you finish your sport, and some people sit there in a room and go, there's no cheering crowds anymore. Yeah, well, that's it. You're chasing a high that you can never get back, right? Yeah. Because and then the depression, and then the anxiety, and then, I don't know. It's sometimes a double-edged sword, with the ones who aren't that fanatical about their goals in life, as in sports people. They can easily fall into that downside of, it can. Yeah, you can. It can be frightening. And that sort of was one of the reasons why I loved footy as much as anyone, but I sort of, in the back of my mind, you can't play forever. No. You're fortunate if you play to 30. Yeah, right? Yeah, true. But after that, you got a whole life ahead of you that I don't want to just be sort of looked upon as, that bloke was a footballer and that's all he was. Yeah, definitely. So post-footy, I made a conscious effort where I went, okay, well, I don't have a lot on during the day. I didn't want to party and gamble and all that. So that's one of the main reasons I decided I wanted to train for the English Channel. Yeah. Okay. Now, whether I got there or not, I obviously wanted to get across. Yeah. But the 18-month build-up of training and giving me goals to focus on and waking up and having a session I had to do, right? Yeah, definitely. That was as good for me in my transition away from footy into life as anything. It gives you those goals again. Yeah, it gives you the goals. It gives you something that motivates you and gets you up in the morning and keeps the head and the body healthy. Correct. Really important. Yeah, definitely. So I've sort of every couple of years, after that, I got a bit lazy, right? So where did the English Channel, when you you done the preparation for that? And where did we get to in that?
Yeah, so it was an 18-month build-up.
Yeah.
And I trained, out in the bay, freezing cold. I had to put on a lot of weight. I played at 85 kilos.
Oh, yeah, right.
My skin folds were 35. They were as low as you could get.
Yeah, right.
And then my swimming coach said, you're too skinny. You won't get across the English Channel. You get hypothermia.
Oh,
so you need to try and put as much fat on as you can and preferably get to 100 kilos of fat.
Wow.
Because the weight insulates your organs.
Yeah.
And fat is buoyant, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Muscle sinks.
Yeah.
Fat is buoyant.
Yeah,
so just eat as much as you can. Get fat. I'm thinking, oh, fucking, how good's this? Right? Like all my life, I've watched what I've eaten.
100%.
I've cut the fat off steak. Right? You get your skin folds done.
Yeah.
And here I've got my swimming coach saying get fat. So I didn't know how to. So I rang Billy Brownless. I said, mate, can you be my dietitian? So it was great build up and I didn't get across because we got hit by terrible weather.
Yeah. How far in did you get?
So I got halfway in 6 hours and was travelling really well.
Wow.
And then the weather picked up and the wind and it became quite treacherous out there. And I was still swimming and thought I was going really well.
Yep.
And I'm thinking in my head,
same spot, were you?
Yeah, I'm thinking in my head, one arm in front of the other, and I might now take 18 hours instead of 14 because of the weather, but I'm still going forward.
Yeah.
And then the boat captain blew a whistle at the 9 hour and 25 minute mark.
Yep.
His name was Reg Bricknell, and I stopped swimming. I looked up and he said, Campbell, we're abandoning the swim, jump in. I said, fuck you, mate. I'm not abandoning anything, mate. I'll see you in France. And he got this smirk, which infuriated me, mate. You can imagine me, I'm in the water, I'm treading water, I'm looking up at this guy. And I said, what are you smiling at? And he goes, well, we didn't have the heart to tell you, but you won't see us in France because you've been swimming on the same spot for the last 3 hours and 25 minutes, mate. In fact, you're getting pushed backwards. Jump in the boat because we've got to head back to Dover, right? And then all the fight just sort of left me. I got back on the boat and I was flat because that was my English Channel attempt, right? But, good fun.
Like taking the air out of the
can you imagine? Yeah. So I reckon I got about sort of 28 Ks of 40-ish, 40. So I was over halfway, but
man,
good fun, mate.
Yeah, definitely getting into that. So you played the centre half back. Now we go international rules series. What's in regards to that? Like it's so
the Gaelic footy over in Ireland.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And which is similar-ish to Australian. They obviously have the round ball and different scoring system, but they played they pick an Australian side.
That's right, and
an Irish side.
Yep.
And we alternate. Every second year we go over to play in Ireland.
Yep.
Which was an unbelievable experience.
I was going to say,
Kevin Sheedy was our coach.
Oh, beautiful. What a top dude he was.
Great guy. And he took me over there in 06.
Yep.
And Dustin Fletcher was our goalie. We had Michael Voss. We had Barry Hall. We had some legends, right?
Yeah.
And I played over there and it got quite willing. The Irish, they're very parochial. There was 80,000 at Croke Park.
Oh, really?
Banging on drums and it was unbelievable atmosphere.
They're phenomenal, aren't they? They're out of this world. There's no other crowds like them, I don't think.
They're so passionate, but the tiny difference in the way things are. So in our game, if someone's bending over to pick up the ball or runs past, Australians, we never kick. You don't kick someone, right?
Yeah, no, that's right,
So they had no problem kicking us.
Yeah.
Because over there it wasn't a big deal, right?
True,
kick a bloke. And for them, they're thinking you never ever punch someone.
Right.
On the sporting field. So with us, Aussies, we're happy to do that.
Have a bit of a crack.
So I reckon it was just like a different mentality and what was dirty and what's not. Because they're kicking us and we're saying, mate, you fucking being dirty. And we would turn around and belt
punching them.
And they're going, this is a disgrace. You can't be striking players on the field and everything like that.
Yeah, right.
And we're saying, well, he just kicked me. So of course I'm going to hit him, right? So there was this different mentality of what was what. And it caused unbelievable commotion to the point where we got to quarter time in the Croke Park game and the Irish team and their captain and their coach dragged the side off the pitch, said, mate, we're not playing.
Really?
We're not coming out and playing you guys. You're violent. Right?
Wow.
And then Nicky Brennan, the GAA president, got involved. And talking. They came back out and played, and we bashed them, right?
Wow.
Won the series,
Yeah.
and they called it off.
Wow.
They refused to come to Australia.
Is that? I was wondering why it hasn't never been played like that international stuff anymore.
It did come back.
Yeah.
And then a few years later, I played again, this time in Australia.
Yeah.
And I had to square up with a couple of the Irish who fucking kicked the shit out of me over there. And I remember the game in Subiaco. So I went over to Perth to play, and halfway through the last quarter, I just put a bump on, which would be considered in our game legal.
All right.
It was the perfect shot, right?
Yeah.
Knocked this bloke out, and I got carded. They sent me off, and 30,000 people at Subi were cheering and everything. And after that, like pretty much the series was dead.
Gone.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, eh? Yeah, because I've always thought I've never seen that again. Like over the
it died a slow death. They had a few more. I think they sent an Indigenous team to Ireland, but it was more a bit of a gimmick.
Yeah, okay.
We got pummeled.
Yeah.
But it was great bonding to meet other players.
Yeah.
Great to get on the piss in Ireland, which is a great country.
Yeah.
And I look back on my Australian jumper.
Yeah.
You know, with 100%. Absolute pride.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, it was
just having that opportunity. Yeah, a totally different thing, isn't it?
Bit of fun.
So when you go into 2007, obviously you held your position there. 2007 starts all the, you got fined for misleading information. What was that,
Juddy eye gouged me.
Yeah. And then you went into the judiciary, said, no, it wasn't around my eye or whatever. But they still fined you $15,000 for misleading information. Yeah,
Juddy was the best player in the game.
Yeah,
he was leading the Brownlow medal.
Yeah, market. Yeah, right.
And we played West Coast down in Tassie, and there's no doubt, like he had his hand in my eye, sort of nearly detached my retina.
Yeah, right.
And he got reported on the spot.
Yeah, right.
Got a week.
Yep.
Challenged the week.
Yep.
Which means he went to the tribunal, and they called me and said, Campbell, you need to come in and give evidence.
Yeah.
And I said, I finally got a Monday off where I'm not the one reported, right?
Yeah.
I said, I'll give evidence, but I'm not coming in.
Yeah.
So I gave this great evidence about how, it was nowhere near my eye. Yes, the hand was on, the face, but and I got him off.
Yeah, right.
Which was great.
So he continued on with his Brownlow medal sort of tally.
And it was the right thing to do. But then I went on the couch with Mike Sheehan and Robert Walls and that a few weeks later.
Yeah.
And Mike, being the good journo he
is,
he sort of, Campbell, you tell a fib at the tribunal to help get Chris Judd off. And I go, of course I did. Like, why would you want to get a player rubbed out? No one wanted to see him not play, so I lied.
So for them to not look like fools in letting him off, they've gone, mate, you're going to cop a fine.
I brought the game into disrepute, and I copped a $15,000 fine. But the AFL wanted me to apologise. And I refused to apologise because I still to this day don't believe I did anything wrong. If anything, I upheld the player code.
100%.
Got to look after each other.
But obviously the tribunal and the AFL are two different. I was going to say that would have been filthy. Especially when you say that.
I sent Juddy an invoice. I'm still waiting for him to pay me back.
Oh, that's funny. So you win the premiership 2008, 2009. There's some obviously rumours that they're allegedly going to trade you. How did that make you feel? Was that one of like the down times after you spending so many years at Hawthorn?
Yeah, I'm a pretty pragmatic guy, and I absolutely love the club. And never in my wildest dreams did I consider leaving it at the time.
Yeah,
like probably the weird part about it was like I was all Australian in 07.
Yeah,
we win a flag in 08, and I had a really good year.
And I
played 21 of 22 games in 2009 and didn't have a bad year. I certainly didn't have a great year.
Yeah.
But I was still top 10 in the BNF and no one at the club had a good year.
Yeah.
So I went into that off-season, thinking, no, I'm definitely not on the trading table.
Yeah, definitely.
But Clarko was under a bit of pressure, because we'd fallen off a cliff, and he was desperate to get Sean Burgoyne.
Yeah.
I mean, what a superstar he is.
Yeah.
And so there needed to be
something,
and he was adamant that they wanted Sean for his class, and after Port Adelaide and Hawthorn have sort of had a few options,
and
they've been knocked on the head, Port Adelaide sort of go, well, hang on a second, you're the one that wants to trade.
Yeah.
We've put forward a couple of guys like Ryan Schoenmakers, you said no. Jordan Lewis, you said no.
Yep.
Who can we get?
Yeah.
And my name got brought up.
Yeah.
And I think the club went, okay, if Campbell's contracted to Hawthorn next year, but if you convince him to leave, then the deal is done.
Yeah, right.
Which caught me completely off guard.
I was going to say that'd be a bit disheartening when you talk about.
I wasn't angry.
No, but you're a bit disheartened in regards to the loyalty you showed to the team.
Yeah, it was just a bit of a wake up call. Like, okay, I'd never in my first 7 or 8 years at Hawthorn considered it to be a business because it was just I loved
family,
them. And we'd had success, and we built this club from the wooden spoon to a premiership, and I was a part of that.
Yeah.
And then this happened, and I remember ringing Mark Evans, who's a football manager, operations manager, and I said to him, Dougie, we called him, was his name. I said, Dougie, am I a required player at Hawthorn next year? And he said, you're a contracted player.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, but that's not the fucking question. I just asked, am I a required player?
Yep.
And again, he said, mate, you're a contracted player. We won't force you to leave.
Yep.
But take a call from them and see what they have to say.
Yeah, right.
And then it's up to you. So I definitely got the wind.
The idea of, okay, well, I'm not wanted.
Well, not that I wasn't wanted. I believed I was wanted, but if they could get the trade done,
they wanted,
they would have been happy with it.
Yeah, 100%.
And I very, very politely said to Port Adelaide, and Mark Williams rang me from San Francisco, was the coach.
Yep.
Gave me this big spiel, and then I started to get text messages from all their senior players, Captain Dom Cassisi, Chad Corns, Dean Brogan, all their mate, we'd love you at the club, you'd be a perfect fit. And I very politely said, thank you so much for the interest, because that's
100%.
nice. But I'm happy to stay at Hawthorn.
Yep.
And then I was like, okay, now it's business.
Now it's business. Now.
And I'm coming towards the back end of my career.
Yep.
I'll see how it pans out.
Yep.
But if there's a really good offer on the table going forward, I might consider it when only.
So Hawthorn give you another contract offer.
Yep.
And at that time you went, nah, and obviously left to go to the Suns.
Yep. Yeah, so I played 2010 out because my contract was, and we had another pretty ordinary year.
Yeah, okay.
So we won the flag in 08 as the second youngest side, and everyone was anticipating this
big
era
that's coming.
And we missed the finals in 09, and we started off 2010 1-6, so really bad. Yeah. And we fought our way back to play finals, but we got bundled out first week of the finals. Yeah. And Clarko was under pressure. Jeff Kennett was making these bold statements in the press. Right. And my role within the side had sort of really diminished a bit. We had some really good young kids coming through the ranks who became household names. Yeah. Bruce, Suckling, Giray, Stratton, guys that are triple premiership players now at the Hawks side. They were 18, 19, hadn't played yet.
Yeah, okay.
And here I am. I'm sort of, am I a forward? Am I a back?
Yeah, in two minds.
I was nearly traded last year. Yeah. Like, yes, I'm still in Hawthorn's best 22 at the moment. Yep. But how long for?
Yeah.
And so the Gold Coast made this offer, which was a great offer. Yep. I mean, money aside, it was like, okay, you're going to come up here. Yep. We'll give you a 3-year deal. You'll be a senior player. Yeah. There's no reason why, if you're not playing good footy, you can't get a 4th or a 5th year out. Yeah, okay. And Hawthorn said, we'll give you a 2-year deal. Yep. And Clark had always been really upfront and honest. Yep. He said, Brownie, you're still in our best 22, but I can't guarantee that you will be by the middle of next year. Yeah. So in my head, I'm going, 3-year deal 100%. At the Gold Coast with a 4th or a 5th. Yep. Or 12 to 18 months at Hawthorn, and then tap on the shoulder, thanks for your service. Yeah. I'd be retired at 29.
Yeah, okay. And that's fair enough.
So it was pretty, and everyone immediately goes, oh, you left for the money, right?
Yeah.
I've never said the money wasn't better.
No.
But that doesn't rule my world.
Behind the scenes, it's very hard to know, especially when you're just looking at what the media tells.
Yeah, I mean, longevity for me was everything. I'd won my flag. I was 27. Yeah. This was my last contract, really. Yep. And I've done nothing. I do nothing for money. Yeah. But the money was way better. Yep. But I reckon if Hawthorn had offered me a 3-year deal and the Gold Coast had offered me a 3-year deal,
that's right.
I would have stayed at
Probably
Hawthorn.
stayed at
right?
Hawthorn, yeah.
Because it's just all about longevity.
Yeah, 100%. And the one club as well.
Yeah. But mate, I made the move. And,
and I think that's where we sort of crossed paths, I think. And that was because we were with Jeff Fennick and the crew over in LA. That's right, yeah. Oh, man, there wasn't that a lunch.
How can we forget that?
Oh, my God. But that's where I think I met you and Nathan Bock.
Yeah.
My brother Rob, we're all sort of with Jeff. And
we're in LA for the Playboy Mansion party.
Hugh
Hefner, R.I.P., mate.
Oh,
Huey.
That was a great party, that.
The joint's empty now.
I know. What's something they said they were going to try and sell it off or something, the mansion.
There'll be a few ghosts there, mate.
Oh, damn. Stories in amongst that. So you started with the Gold Coast in 2011 and basically from there I was in a senior role. Obviously making the move, you're out of Hawthorn and you make the move to the Gold Coast. When I was Sunshine Coast even back then, so we come down and watched you a couple of games and you seemed like, it was a good sort of fit for what sort of went on with the backside of Hawthorn to go up to Gold Coast and go, this is and Gold Coast. Who doesn't want to live on the Gold Coast? And especially when you get a good job, good pay. What was that like in the senior role there? What was the team environment? What was the whole sort of, because they're only a new team.
Yeah, brand spanking new team, and it was exciting. Like that first year.
Yep.
End of 2010, the first pre-season, and then 2011, the first season. It was really exciting because you're a new franchise, so everything was new.
Yeah.
The first draft where you get all these good young kids. Yeah. The first pre-season game where we put on our jumpers for the first proper time and we beat the Sydney Swans at Blacktown.
Yeah, right.
The first game, the opening of Metricon Stadium, the first win. Like it was a really exciting time.
Yep.
Because there was so much optimism around.
That's right. And excitement, I suppose, for the AFL game to be in the Gold Coast, because you probably got AFL supporters up there loving it, but they
that
can't.
Quickly wore off.
Yeah, right.
And as a senior guy, I knew it'd be difficult because I know how hard the game is, right?
Yeah.
When you've got 22 experienced senior guys playing footy, it's hard.
Yeah.
Let alone when you're running out on a field with 15, 16 guys that have played 1, 2, 3 games, right?
Yeah,
they just can't maintain the level of intensity required for long enough.
Yeah, that's right.
You can try all you want, right?
But they just haven't got that maturity
yet.
yet.
2.5 quarters. Yeah. And then sides would beat us by 10 goals and you go, fuck, how did that happen? Like we played okay for a half, right? Yeah. And because I was so competitive, I was starting to get a bit frustrated because
100%.
you're trying to do too much.
Everything could be the whole team in general.
And we had Gary Ablett in the middle that was dominating.
Yeah.
Michael Riscatelli, Nathan Bock, me, Jared Brennan. There was only 5 or 6 of us that were out there playing.
Yeah. The others are just sort of coming along on the coat.
And they're learning, so you can't put too much pressure on them.
That's right.
So the senior guys took the bulk of the pressure.
Yeah.
And because I'm such a competitive guy, and I come from Hawthorn where we're competing for premierships and everything, and here we're getting beaten by 10 goals, and I'm playing down back and fucking 70 inside 50s.
Running around
I'm like
chook head.
So I started to probably, I was never great at controlling my emotions, but I was lashing out, right? Fucking belting people, and then getting rubbed out. And probably double-edged sword, right? Because then I can't be out on the field helping the young guys, and they got me there for leadership and all that, and I'm sitting on the sideline
suspended
for something I could have controlled. There was a little bit of that.
100%. And when you go into that environment, and it's sort of like you're the teacher or you're the father figure, and then they're not doing everything that you need them to do. You take that role and go, just leave it, I'll do it. But then you can't be doing all that, especially in a team environment like AFL for sure. Yeah. And what was so when you broke, in 2011 you broke your pelvis?
Yes.
How did you break that?
Yeah, it was a really funny one. We played Geelong down at Cardinia Park. Yeah. It was the first quarter and James Kelly had the ball and he was running flat out. And I came off my man and I tackled him front on. Okay. And his right knee hit the left side of my pelvis, right?
Yeah, right.
And he got caught holding the ball, so I got a free kick and I got back to my feet and I gave a handball off. Yep. And the ball went up the other end and I started to jog. Yeah. And I felt some pain there, right?
Yeah.
But I thought, it's a corky. You've been corked a million times.
Yeah.
So I was like, you run it out.
Yep.
You want to keep moving to keep the blood flowing. And so literally the ball got switched to the other side of Cardinia Park.
Yeah.
I was playing on Cam Mooney.
Yeah, right.
He's taken off on like a lateral lead across the ground.
Yep.
And I went from a light jog to a jog to a sprint.
Yep.
And I just heard and felt this massive crack, right?
Really?
And
wow.
my leg collapsed.
Yeah.
And I was on the ground and I went like, ah! And I remember Cam Mooney, who was on the lead, he stopped and I looked back.
Yeah, really?
And this look on his face is like, mate, what the hell has just happened to you, right?
What are you doing?
And I immediately knew, like I just put my hand up.
Yep.
Runner came out and said, mate, I think I need a stretcher. I have no idea what's happened.
Yeah, right.
But I can't move my left leg.
Wow.
And sure enough, I got stretchered straight into an ambulance, straight to Geelong Hospital. I still had no idea what had gone on, right?
Yeah, right.
Because you don't expect that.
No, especially
and
like
they scanned my waist,
Yep.
complete fracture
Wow.
from the iliac crest all the way through. So
wow.
it's what it's what you would expect if a pedestrian was walking along the street and he got hit by a car.
Yeah, yep. Oh,
you break your pelvis, right?
Yeah, yep.
So I don't know if I had like weak bones or the initial.
I was going to say, sometimes the initial contact, if it's right on that sweet spot,
might have been a little hairline.
Yeah.
And then the running
started off and then just cracks it more.
Maybe.
Oh, wow.
But mate, that was the end of my season. I was fucked.
Damn.
Yeah, I got a great photo of it. It's a huge, big fracture.
Yeah. Far out.
Yeah, couldn't make love for a while.
Well, that's no good at all. So with the so obviously the feisty bit, over your time, I think there was like 29 weeks in total of suspensions and frustration.
Sounds worse than it was.
I know.
And I was unlucky with most of those.
Yeah, 100%. And I think when we were in LA and we were together at that time, and then was that when you're in pre-season for the following year?
Yep.
In the November, going into 2012.
Yeah, just been to
so you done the two World Arizona. Is that the big publicity bar fight?
Yeah, on the back of that.
Yep. On the back of that, which you got taken out a leadership group or something. So we went to Thailand on a footy trip, and there was a bit of a bar fight and whatnot, and came back, and there was a bit of publicity around around the fight. It was just a fight, but again, another one of those things that like probably shouldn't have happened. I'm old enough and wise enough to have maybe been able to. Was that the one that was going around where you're sitting on the couch with the handcuffs on?
Yes, yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
I do remember after spending some time in LA with.
Horrendous.
I thought, damn it, is that really Brown here? You look like you're gone with that handcuffs.
I had 12 rounds with Mike Tyson, hadn't I?
Not in the nude, but And I was like, oh damn, and that did get some publicity on that, and I was like, oh, that poor bastard.
Yeah, well, that one is just my own fault. Like, I'd gone over on a footy trip to Thailand with the boys, as you do. You're having a good time at a full moon party. Yeah. Got into a fight with someone that I was trying to actually break up, but I ended up getting involved. And a bit unfortunate, but you live and you learn. You wear that, and you try and grow up.
And what was the thing when you went to pre-season camp in 2013? Was that the sort of
That was when I got into a blue with Stephen May.
Yeah.
In LA, we'd had the 2-week training camp. We came back. We had a couple of nights in LA.
That was in Arizona again?
Yeah, and we'd come back to LA, and we'd gone out for dinner, and we'd gone to a bar in West Hollywood, and we'd sort of got into an altercation, Steve and I, and we both got sent back to Australia a day early, so we flew back on the plane. I apologised to him because we just like, I suppose, mates or brothers that had got into a blue, you don't 100%, intend to hurt them. In that moment, you're angry, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You wrestle your brother or you belt him. But I ended up fracturing his jaw, which was the thing that cost me my career.
I was going to say the suspension off, and that's where it sort of, they said that's it. That's
enough.
The end.
We've had some on-field stuff. We've had some off-field stuff.
Yeah.
While you're still playing good footy, and I got on really well with the boys and everything, but enough was enough.
They've got
and they sort of pulled the trigger on that. And, not the ideal way to finish a
off.
career.
No.
And especially with the connotations come publicly that,
That's right, yeah. Especially that comes onto your family as well and everything else,
but
which is...
I'm never one to sort of, it's happened, you can't change it. You learn, you move on, and you try and make sure it doesn't happen again. So
definitely.
That, that was an interesting time.
Definitely. What... When that happened, were you at Crossroads? Obviously, you weren't. Were you doing media stuff then?
Oh, yeah, I was doing a lot of media stuff, and my aim was that I wanted to do media post-footy.
Yeah, okay.
But that immediately put a bit of a halt to that.
Yeah.
And so I was always planning on coming back to Melbourne post-footy career. I was never going to live on the Gold Coast forever. So we immediately sort of 1 week I was planning my 2014 season with the Suns. And then you have that incident, you get sacked, and you're like, what am I going to do next year? So we sold the house, we moved back here, and that's when I started doing the training for the English Channel. Because I didn't have much
on. You got to have
work.
some goals.
I didn't have much work, to be honest with you. The phone dried up a bit, and I wasn't too stressed because I never get stressed, but I was starting to think, shit, okay, well, what am I going to do for a living now? And so the swimming became quite therapeutic.
Yeah, definitely.
You get in the pool and you're just on your terms, you swim and
nothing else around you. You can just think.
But you can relax.
That's right.
And that's probably one of the things that helped me transition.
Yeah, definitely. And it's one thing you just got to have a goal, especially when you head noise and the body, and you just got to, what am I going to do? You got to actually have something to do.
Yeah.
So now post career, you're doing a lot of the Channel 7 or Fox.
Yeah, Channel 7.
I've been, the footy.
Yeah, been with 7 now for 7 years. I do mainly the VFL.
Yep.
Which is quite ironic. Yeah. I never wanted to beat the VFL as a player, but now I can commentate. And they've given me some more opportunity with AFL games. The last few years, which has been great. I do a lot of radio on SEN and SEN Track, which I cover the races
and that.
I do some stuff because I love a bet, as you know. So there's a lot of people out there that are very anti gambling and wagering,
100%.
but you can have that opinion.
100%. Yeah.
There's people that love that.
Mate, and when it gets down to the industry. I mean, in industry, yes, a lot of people have their opinions about it, but the industry still gives a lot of money back into the
hundreds of millions
back into the community for all sorts of things. So it's one of those, again, double-edged swords where people go, oh, that's not good for that. But
they immediately think of the negative connotations.
100%.
But think of the jobs and the schools that get built. And on my 20-acre property we mentioned before, we get retired racehorses, we rehome them.
Oh, beautiful,
and send them off to good homes and stuff like that because you never sure where a horse is going to end up when it retires from racing.
100%.
You hope it gets into the right hands.
There was that sort of thing come up where a lot of horses were getting killed years ago. Obviously, that's when it went forward and went, hey, there's going to be a rule. Same as greyhounds, when the greyhounds were chasing live rabbits and all that sort of stuff. So,
so I do a lot of that. My wife's big on that.
Beautiful.
And she loves her horses, and we retrain them into becoming dressage horses and horses for young kids and all that. So
definitely.
That's it's good to be able to put a passion and be able to physically do 100%. It on my property and
then give it back.
Yeah,
that's so good. That's so good. So what? So when you talk the best sporting memory, obviously that was the winning the premiership for you.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was the pinnacle of my sporting career. And I dreamed about it so many times as a kid, and I never thought you'd live it.
Yeah.
And even when you're playing AFL footy, you don't really think you'll ever get that opportunity.
No,
I mean, poor old Nathan Jones has been playing for 300 games for Melbourne, and he missed out by like half a year.
Sad,
so that was unbelievable. And Shane Crawford's a great mate of mine, and one of the people that probably I respect the most in this world.
Yeah.
To be able to play. And that was his last ever game after what he'd given the Hawthorn Footy Club through a shit period.
He
won a Brownlow and he'd announced his retirement and he deserved to go out on top.
The fact
that
happened.
That siren goes and I was almost in tears for me because we'd done it. You look down the field and you see Crawf, who'd been trying to do it for another 10 years on top of what you've done.
Yeah.
It was a really great moment.
Wow, that would have been something special for sure. What if you weren't doing the AFL? What do you think your life would have been?
Don't know. I mean, I love sport, so
Yeah.
I could imagine I would have been involved in sport to some degree. Maybe I wanted to be a player manager.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like
Yep.
something like that, or you know, I always had. I as a kid, I was always listening to the 12th Man, right? Billy Birmingham, with his commentary and everything like that. And I did have aspirations to be a play-by-play commentator like Bruce McAvaney and Dennis Committee.
Yep.
I sort of shelved that because I do special comments now on footy. But I dare say I probably would have gone down that path, being more a commentator.
Yeah, right. That's so good. And in your time, obviously, even before your time, a sportsman or what they class as heroes, who did you really look up to, or who did you have as a favourite sports person or favourite, you know, as a kid hero?
There's a few. So on my wall as a kid, I had Dermot Brereton and Tony Lockett. So they were sort of the two guys that I loved. And I probably, without knowing at the time, it was probably their aggression, you know, that I loved about it.
Yeah.
From another sporting point of view, I remember going to the Sydney 2000 Olympics.
Yep.
And my old man had one ticket to Kathy Freeman's 400.
Oh, really? Wow.
And I went to that, but it wasn't. I mean, Kathy won gold and it was unbelievable, but the men's 10,000 metres was just before that.
Oh, really?
And a guy called Haile Gebrselassie, Emperor of Ethiopia, he won it, but he got boxed in by the Kenyans and had no right to win. And the last lap, so he's run 9.6 Ks, and he peels out and runs this 400 to go past them when they were trying to box him in. Bit of team tactics.
Yep.
And he beat a guy called Paul Turgat.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it because his time was ridiculous and his will to win was just unbelievable. I remember sitting there watching that and like I was still in awe of what I saw that night. And you go back and you watch the replay. Yeah, right. Unbelievable. But those guys and Shane Warne was a guy that I idolised as a kid because I love my sport.
I was going to say, obviously knowing Jeff Fennick, I got plenty of opportunities to know Warnie. 100%. And he 888 sponsored Jeff and Warnie at that time, and we spent some time in Vegas a lot together. And you were with Tony Hashem and yourself were very close to Warnie. When that all happened?
Yeah, it was just devastating.
It was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And the thing is, I remember watching him as the cricketer, as an 8-9-year-old and going through and you idolise him as the player.
That's right.
And then I got to meet him a few times and you're in awe of him a bit, but then you become really close friends with him.
Yep. Because you used to do poker nights with Hasho and I used to see all the photos and all that on the socials.
It was the best. And not many people, I reckon, in this world, if you idolise them as a kid.
That's right.
And then you meet them.
Yep.
And they become even better blokes
definitely,
than the one you ever thought about. And
definitely.
that was definitely Warnie. He was just an absolute beauty. Everything you hear about what good a bloke he is, double it.
Yeah, definitely. And every time we spent time in Vegas or LA with Warnie and Jeff and that, like he was always, to me and my brother, he's always respectful, and we always, I think he still owed me $300 from one of the strippy joints. But, I'll let that one slide these days. But it was to me, he seemed very down to earth and a very, very nice dude in regards to that as well.
Yeah. And you could ring him up and ask him for anything. Yeah. And he would do it. And he's got 3 great kids, so we're still keeping in contact with them, especially young Jacko.
100%. Yeah. No, I see those on socials, the 2 daughters and the son happening for sure. And then that's, I suppose it was like a, when Lady died. Yeah. And I was like, no, she will live forever. Yeah. That's how I had that. And Steve Irwin, because I knew Steve Irwin back in the sunny coast. It was those moments where it was like, no. Yeah. And then because I think it was, I got up at 5 to go for a run, or I was on the toilet. I don't even know where I was.
Saw the Twitter.
Then I come through and I was like,
Can't believe it.
I said, I have to take another look here. And then I scroll through to see other news. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, wow. And then obviously then you just sit there and watch the news and the TV thinking, how did that ever happen?
Hard to believe.
But it's still one of those things you're like, you see footage and then you're like, I can't believe he's gone.
Yeah.
Can't believe he's gone. But one of the best before we finish up, one of the best advice that you've been given? Probably from your old man in regards to a lot of things.
I'll tell this story, and it's a bit of a long-winded one, so I apologise because we're coming to the end. But I'd heard the saying, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah,
everyone says that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And for me, it was just a saying until this happened to me, and I realised exactly what it means. So when I was 16 playing for Oakley Chargers, I got picked for the Victorian Metro under-16 state squad. Right? So they pick 50.
Yep.
You play a game and they cut it to 40. You train, play, they cut it to 30.
Yeah, right.
And then they pick 25 to play in the national carnival, right? The coach's name was a guy called David Dixon.
Okay.
He played at Carlton. He was a hard-ass coach, but he was staunch. Yeah. He knew what he wanted. And so we get to the last night of training and we're at Victoria Park and there's 27 of us training. Yeah. And I mentioned I wasn't a star. So I was right on the cusp. Yep. I thought I'm a chance to make it, but I'm also a chance to get cut tonight. So there's 2 to get cut. Yep. He calls one bloke over. You see him deliver the bad news. Yep. I'm doing lane work, sort of trying to avoid eye contact. He calls me over.
Oh, no.
Gives me the news. I'm 26th man, so basically first emergency, but I haven't made the squad. Yeah. And he said, look, Campbell, we tried really hard, blah, 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 but we just thought that you were a bit too small and you're a bit too slow. Yeah, right. So I was driving home with my old man that night and we're having a chat and I'm obviously bitterly disappointed because I haven't made the squad. Definitely. And he says, well, son, you can't do anything about being too small because that's just your genetics.
That's right.
But if he said you're too slow, you can do something about that. Yeah. He goes, what if I sort out a speed coach? Yep. Would you be interested in doing some speed work? Yep. And I said, absolutely, right? So for every Tuesday for the next 18 months, I went down to Glenfrey Road after school, 4 o'clock on a Tuesday, and Bowden Babachek was the speed coach and fitness coach at Hawthorn. Yep. And I'd get changed out of my school uniform and I'd be running up and down Glenfrey Oval, hopping, bounding, doing all the speed stuff. Yeah. Fast forward 18 months later, David Dixon is now the coach of the Victorian Metro under-18s team. So he's gone up to the 18s, as have I. Play a few good games for Oakley Chargers. I get picked for the squad of 50. Yeah. They cut it to 40. I'm still in the squad. They cut it to 30. I'm still in the squad. They cut it. They're taking 25, so it's deja vu. Yep. There's 28 of us at Princes Park on the last night. And I know I'm on the cusp again, right? And he calls over a bloke, tells him, I can't make the team. Right? Calls over another bloke, gives him the bad news. Yeah, right. 5 minutes later, he calls me over. Oh, no. I'm walking towards him. Yeah. Shattered.
Nearly in tears.
Oh, but it's happened again, right? Yeah. 2 years in a row. Same coach, same fucking venue, different venue, but same. Yeah. And he came, he said, Campbell, you're in the team. Congratulations. Oh, he goes, but not because we think you're any better than him, or him. Yeah. But I'll tell you why I've picked you in the team. Yeah. He says, I was at Glenfrey Ovals about 6 months ago. Yeah. I'm sitting at the social club having a beer with a mate. Yeah. Waiting to watch Hawthorn train. Yeah. I see this young kid rock up in his school uniform, change, start running up and down the oval. I turned to my mate and I said, who's that? And he said, oh, that's Campbell Brown, Mel's son. He comes down here every Tuesday to do speed work because apparently a coach told him he was too small and too slow. Yeah. Didn't know he was telling it to the actual guy that gave me the feedback.
Yeah, right.
Now, I got quicker. Yeah. Right?
As you would.
But I didn't turn into Usain Bolt. No, I wasn't lightning quick anymore. But the thing was, he picked me in that squad because he'd given me feedback. Yep. And then he'd physically seen that I'd gone away and I'd worked on it.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
And I made the squad. I played bloody well in the championships. Yep. And on the back of that, I got drafted to Hawthorn. If I didn't get picked for Vic Metro, I don't play in the championships. Yep. I don't get picked in the draft, 100%. Yeah, right. And that right there is an example of,
the harder you work,
the luckier you get. Because because it's right there for you to see.
Yeah.
And yes, you improve in areas.
Yeah.
But it's the perception as well that people see that you're working your ass off and you're trying.
And that's probably, if you were to give advice to any young woman or man, that'd be exactly the same advice that you would give.
Yep. Don't sulk.
Yep.
Don't think it's bad luck.
Just go and work
What about
harder.
me? It's unfair, right?
Yep.
Just go out and fucking work your ass off to the point where you improve enough. But at least then people will go, my God, have a look at this bloke.
100%,
right?
yeah. They say that's that bloke who you told to go and train, he's actually training.
And it shows them how much it means to you.
You're dedicated
and
to do it.
sometimes you get picked in teams and whatever because they know that it means more to you than it does that kid, and you'll do whatever it takes to make it. And I think that's probably a great,
that's a great story too. Like just a real story that impacts the meaning of work harder, pretty much gets lucky.
The other advice my old man used to say to me, and I don't think it worked too well, is don't get angry, get even. And I tried. Hence 29 weeks suspension.
100%. Nah, that's good. But the last probably question I have for you, and what is Campbell Brown's rich life these days? Where's your happiest moments these days?
Yeah, I think about this a lot, and I honestly feel very fortunate that I've got a beautiful wife.
Yep.
2 healthy boys.
Yep.
I live out, on the land.
Yep.
And I was always a city slicker.
Yeah. Okay.
But I've become a bit of a country folk. Which is great.
Yeah.
And my 3 biggest passions in life.
Yep.
A footy, racing, and I love a punt. Responsibly, right? Because I know the damage you can cause, but I love that, right?
That punt.
And I was thinking the other day how bloody lucky I am that I'm working in the 3 jobs I have.
100%.
Footy, racing, and gambling.
Yep.
And that's my job. I get paid to go and do stuff that I absolutely love. To go to the races, to go to the footy, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I feel very fortunate because a bit of luck and all that sort of stuff. But I'm very content with life at the moment.
That's Campbell Brown's rich life.
It's my rich life,
mate. I just want to thank you for coming on the Rich Life Projects, mate. It's been we've known each other for a few years, mate.
I love
for your time,
everything you did for me.
For your time today, and mate, it's been an absolute pleasure.
You're a champion.
You're a champion.
Great to see you.